So, I wanted to do a review of one of the most well-known hair transplants ever done in the world because it happens to be of the richest person in the world as of 2025, Elon Musk. Elon Musk has had at least one hair transplant. He's one of the few celebrities or well-known people who we can point to and say for sure had at least one or two hair transplants. There have been two major sudden increases in the strength of his hairline zone area over the years. The first occurred in the early 2000s and the second occurred around 2014. So these big sudden increases in hairline area strength almost certainly come from a hair transplant. It's possible that he's also used medication, Finasteride, Minoxidil, things like that in an overall strategy to regain his hair. But for sure, these big increases in hairline strength come from hair transplants. As most of us know, there are good hair transplants and there are bad hair transplants. So I've made a video before going over what a proper hair transplant design strategy should be. So if you haven't seen that video yet, go check that out. I'd say Elon Musk was experiencing moderate to significant hair loss. Was looking like a Norwood 3 to Norwood 4 in his late 20s. He had one or two FUT surgeries, the follicular unit transplantation, which is the linear strip scar that's taken out of the back of the head. We have some evidence for this based on some pictures over the years. So with that said, let's dive into some of the pictures and the transformation of Elon Musk's hair. And at the end, I will give my final grade of his hair transplant procedures. This picture is from Elon's late teenage years, and as you can see, he still has all of his hair, but he's probably beginning to thin already around this time. So Elon has that thin, straight, fine hair that seems to coincide a lot with early onset hair loss. In 1998, Elon's 26 or 27 years old. We're seeing that he still has most of his hair, but you're seeing a decent amount of hairline area recession. 2000, he's 29 years old. This is the famous posing with the PayPal on the computer picture. And here you see a significant amount of hairline area and mid-scalp thinning and hair loss happening. I'd say he's about a Norwood 3 to Norwood 4 in this image. 2 years later, 2002, he's 30 or 31 years old. Here we can see that the hairline area seems to look strengthened. So I'm not certain if he had a hair transplant around this time or if he just hopped on Finasteride, that 5-alpha reductase inhibitor, and sort of stopped his hair loss and recovered some at the hairline. 2003, same sort of effect, 31, 32 years old. Here in 2004, much better picture. We can see that pretty decent restoration of the mid-scalp and hairline area. Although it's not super strong, it's not what he looks like today, but we got to get through these years first. So 2004, he looks to have decently recovered some of his hair, probably medication treatment like Finasteride. 2005, more of the same, pretty average to decent restoration of that mid-scalp and hairline area. Another picture from 2005, 33 years old. 2006, 1 year later, not the greatest picture for his hairline. It could be because it's from a little bit of a downward looking up angle. Another picture from 2006, sort of a side angle. You can see he still has pretty, decent recession of his corner temple area, which is to be expected for anybody who is experiencing significant hair loss. 2007, more of the same. I think he's probably continuing to take finasteride medication to stop the farther progression of hair loss because you can see there's no more recession farther back on his head. So he probably was a good responder to that 5-alpha reductase inhibitor to hold on to the rest of his hair that he still had. Another 2007 picture. Now, here I believe this to be good evidence of having his first hair transplant already by this point. If you look at his hairline closely, the way that those hair grafts look along his hairline and the way that they're a little bit see-through, that is good evidence of transplanted hair. So I'm pretty confident that his first hair transplant was sometime prior to 2007. 2008. Here he has all of his hair basically the same length. You can see that mid-scalp and frontal hairline area decently restored. Another 2008 picture. Here his hairline area looks a little fuller, although I do think it's probably just the result of product and good styling because we'll see in the next picture. Oof. Okay, in this picture he probably doesn't have styling product in, that's for sure. 2009, 1 year later. I don't think there's any major change in his hairline. I think it just looks a little bit worse because he didn't style it well here. Another 2009 picture, not a great hairline look. I'm not sure what's going on around this time. It's possible, although it's all speculation, of course, that maybe he was on medication for a while and stopped it for some reason and then, started to see a little bit of thinning over time. It's all pure speculation. 2010, 39 years old. Same thing basically, no major changes here during this time period. 2011, same thing, no major changes. I promise we're getting to some big changes coming very soon. 2012, 41 years old, no major changes. 2013, more of the same for the most part, although his hairline area does look a little bit stronger. I'm not sure if it's just because he grew it out a little bit longer or if this is after his second hair transplant. 2014, here we can see the big change in his hairline density. So he definitely had his second hair transplant either in 2013 or 2014. This is a big increase in the strength of that frontal hairline area. Another 2014 picture, this is a good one. You can really see it strong here, the increase in that hairline density. So, to a person who's not trained to evaluate hair transplants, they just see this as natural looking, right? That's how good it does look. If you zoom in really close on his forehead up close in person, you could probably see that they were implanted grafts. So I can look at this picture and I can tell this is obviously a hair transplant, a good one. But most people would not recognize it as such if they don't, evaluate the details of that. They just see this as natural looking, and that's how good it does look. Again, here 2015, much stronger hairline area, very good results from a second, probably, hair transplant procedure. 2016, 45 years old, very strong hairline and mid-scalp region from a hair transplant. So you can see that whoever did his hair transplant, they placed his hairline at an age-appropriate location. So he's into his 40s. He's not worried about having a super low hairline, as you shouldn't be at that age especially. He was focused on filling out the density from a natural-looking hairline location throughout the mid-scalp, and they did a very good job in picking the hairline location. Some more good picks here as we go through the years. 2017, again, very strong look. 2018, grew his hair out a little bit longer here. Looks pretty good. 2020, this is a good picture because his hair is sort of blowing up in the wind and you can see that it still looks strong, which is a evidence of, good density in a hair transplant. So even though his sides are a little bit thinning, he doesn't care about those sides. It's about having the strength on the top, and this is a good hair transplant outcome when you can go outside in the wind and it still looks okay. 2023, another good picture. 2024, 53 years old, more of the same, holding strong. Here in the spring of 2025, 53 years old, that hair transplant outcome looks very, very impressive, and it will continue to look strong for decades more. And very clear evidence here of an FUT linear strip scar on the back of his head that you can see when his hair is a little bit shorter on the sides and back. And then here, sorry for the picture being blurry because it's from sort of an old TV interview, screen grab. But you can see sort of a curved line going across the back of his head when his hair is short. That is an FUT scar. And this picture is the best evidence that he has had 2 FUT hair transplant procedures. You can see that one strip scar a little bit higher and the other one a little bit lower. The best evidence that he has had 2 and that they've been FUT strip procedures. The FUE procedure, the individual graft extractions, didn't really start becoming popular until after 2010. So it makes sense that his first one in the early 2000s would have definitely been FUT. And around 2013 or 14, when he had that second one, he probably just stuck with FUT because it was what he was familiar with. And if he went to the same doctor, they were probably comfortable doing the same one again. The FUE really took off later, I'd say 2015 and later. It's sort of become the majority choice for a lot of people who have hair transplants. But prior to that, the FUTs were the default. And if they did a good job on it, like they did on Elon Musk, you could have a very good outcome just like he did. So overall, I grade Elon Musk's hair transplant an A, or an A+, if you want to give it an A+. It's as good as you can expect from a hair transplant transformation and outcome. It's got a strong but natural hairline that's located maturely on the forehead. It's not too low and it doesn't look too weak in density. And there's no gaps in his hair, right? You can see how it continues back and it looks thick. The density looks high from the hairline zone all the way to the back. Elon Musk may have had the benefit of not suffering from much hair loss on his crown. It was never really seen that he was really thinning too much in his crown, which definitely helps out a lot. If you can maintain that crown density, you know, you're lucky. Let's just say that. If you start to thin in that crown area, that's a whole other region that then becomes a problem to have to fill. If I had to bet, I would guess that Elon Musk has also used medication treatment over the years. Finasteride probably, to stop that DHT from attacking the hair follicles even more. And I don't know if he uses Minoxidil or not. That's kind of an annoying thing to have to apply, you know, every day over the years. So if I had to guess, with how busy he is, he probably has just taken Finasteride since the early 2000s as part of his hair transformation. It's totally unknown which doctor or clinic he went to, but obviously they did a very, very good job with the FUT procedures. And imagine being the hair transplant doctor of Elon Musk, who nobody knows about because it's been kept low-key over all these years. All right, that's enough about Elon Musk for now. Let me know down in the comments if you'd like to see more topics and videos like these, or if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Subscribe to my channel for updates on future videos, and see you again in the future. Goodbye.